Check, check. Okay, everybody. Bill Houston here, and we're just waiting for the meeting to start. Looks like it's getting going right now. I was just listening to some Groove Salad. I had to kill it because I don't want to get a copyright strike. But man, it was like something like bum, bum, bum. It's like Trigger Hippie, something like that was the name of the track. It was really, really cool. Okay, join without video. Waiting for Anthony to let us in. We're going to get started with... I've missed the last 3 or 4 meetings, so I'm not... with computer audio.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, I'm going to sign out as soon as I get some... I guess... We do have audio. I just want to make sure we got audio first, and then I'm gonna go away, and we're just gonna listen to what they have to say. The one thing that I really wanted to pursue, but I haven't because I've had issues. But is the cable contract? I want to know if the cable contract is still a happening thing, because every cable contract has the possibility to make demands for local studios. So I'm going to look into that, and I hope it's not too late. I hope that's not already been approved or whatever. I want to get involved in that. It looks like 5G is DOA.
Great idea for rainwater to water our trees. Man, he's got some great ideas.
Oh yeah, she loves trees. The mayor loves trees. That's for sure.
Underground. He's got great ideas.
That's awesome.
Glad to see you, George.
Loves the trees.
We're just talking about your fantastic idea for watering our trees and our plants.
It's like she uses a chainsaw to help water the trees.
So I don't see Ted is connected to audio or...
Let me kill my view here.
Who was on here with that? Yeah, so he usually has his name on the video portion, and then you come.
I just love that track.
It was on here, but then it...
See your name, but they said you're not.
Okay, it's coming now.
Here you go, you come. Unmute him. You have to unmute.
He's just gotta...
More
Okay,
Chiba.
gotcha.
That's who does that track. More Chiba, Trigger Hippie. The other one is Diaphanous Calabi.
Yeah, I'm in, Anthony.
Okay, I'm going away. We'll talk to you later.
Start the meeting.
The flag of the United States of America to the republic for which it stands, nation under God, visible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'm happy that we have people in the audience today. So nice. The New York State Governor has now ceased the social distancing rules for board meetings. We can now welcome the public to physically attend the village board meetings. Fully vaccinated people are not required to wear masks. Continue to allow people to speak on our Zoom meetings until the governor reinstates the open meetings law, which will require people to be in the boardroom to be allowed to speak during a meeting. However, I still want to keep our Zoom so people can watch, even if the mayor, if the governor does reinstate the open meetings law. Anthony and I attended a NICOM conference, and I took classes on how to run a municipality, ethics, running a meeting, police reform, discipline, and many others. And Anthony will address some of the classes he took. We received a lot of advice from seasoned municipal leaders. Some suggestions were to have a scheduled time for coffee with the mayor, and another one was to have the trustees have one scheduled regular office hours. We have an office here at the village for the trustees, or the boardroom, or the conference room, any room you want. If it's open, it's yours. I now want to have a coffee with the mayor on every other Friday morning from 9 to 11 at the celebrations on the Avenue, starting this Friday on the 25th. So if anybody is bored at 9 in the morning, stop off the Avenue, come in and visit. We can chat about anything. If you have complaints, that's all right. If you want to know what we're doing on the Avenue, we're in a good spot to see it. Mike Romeo will be there. And it's a beautiful place. And I talked last week. It's gorgeous. Time. This is it. The celebrations where Nurchies used to be on the Avenue from 9 to 11. I'm only going to do it every other week because Mike and I were talking and we weren't sure how many people will actually show up. But we thought we'd try it every other week and see how it goes. But I thought it's a nice way, and people can come even if they're not in the village, in the town of Union, that's fine. Stop in. It would be just nice to have people, just get people down on the Avenue. A reason to get people, into the village anyway. I attended an open house at this Triple Star CPR. It's a new business on the Avenue, and they teach CPR, first aid, and babysitting classes. We won a door prize of a first aid kit, and it's now in our break room to replace some of our antiquated items, like our aspirin that was here from 1984. I was honored to join Senator Akshar and Assemblywoman Lepardo, Vessel Supervisor John Schaefer at the Elks for a Flag Day celebration. The Elks is the only organization that celebrates Flag Day. And I accepted a beautiful plaque in the village for properly flying our United States flag, and it's the plaque sitting here on the desk. At our SEPTED meeting, we're making headway on some problem areas that we are attempting to lock down. We went over the progress we're making with our Chuck Trail cleanup. We need to get the liability waiver for the Endicott Road. We continue those. The committee had a lot of important safety and code concerns regarding Washington Avenue revitalization project. We will be including the police, the fire code, and department heads at some point with the project in the future. Our Washington Avenue revitalization, we've made a lot of progress. Right now, we're making out lists for what we want to ask for donations to help. For example, Assemblywoman Donna Lepardo is going to try to get us the cameras on the Avenue. And Police Chief Gary gets me the cost.
Jesus
CAE at one
Christ,
time
that's what we
helped
need.
offer paying for trees, so I will be getting back with them and ask them what they would like. And our departments are going to do much of the actual work as in-kind service, because everything we get done like this comes off of our share that we have to pay. And so hopefully we won't have to bond for the whole 1.6 million, whatever it is. We're trying to get that down as best we can. So we're going to find everything we can and go to the businesses and say, this is our list, what can you do for us? And ask them to donate, not money, but donate a gift of some sort. Let's see. Burn Dairy is now concerned that their customers cannot make a turn onto Main Street across a double yellow line in multiple lanes of traffic. This is a state road, so the DOT is involved. DOT feels this is way too congested an area to make that left turn, especially with the red light close by, especially with the people worried about all the people walking by. They're worried about the kids and people walking into the dairy. They're worried that we don't have a crossing guard at times for the kids when there is school. So we're going to let the DOT make that decision. If they bring it to the planning board, then that'll be between the planning board and the DOT. We don't have to get involved with that. I think we can still work out with Burn Dairy. I think that that's probably a marginal enough reason that I don't think they're going to leave just because they can't turn left, because we have so many other ways around it. So I think that should work out. Endicott crowd has accepted taking responsibility for our beautification committee. These volunteers are amazing. Endicott crowd volunteers, a variety of local churches, Tiger Ventures, Little Italy, and some resident volunteers have formed a schedule for the upkeep of many of the gardens around the village. And I want to thank everyone involved with this organization. Yes Leads and Endicott Proud volunteers are planting flowers for graduation, and another cleanup day for the whole village is expected. I interviewed an intern from Binghamton University who's studying law. She's offered to volunteer her time to help us. I'd like to assign her some of Cheryl's former project of working with one of the NICOM lawyers on recovering some EMS costs, as well as annexing our fire system. This can mean about $300,000 each year. It's a big deal because that would go to our fire department, and that would pay for at least 2 firemen if we could get that worked out. And the money comes from insurance companies. We're not taking anything away from the town of Union. And because Alicia and I have been spending an awful lot of time on the clean energy grant with other grants we're working on, so it's nice that we have this volunteer. Hopefully she's going to be starting the end of this week. This intern would also do research, talk to our fire department, and then when she gets everything done, she'll bring it to our lawyer, because of course she's not a lawyer, and she's kind of looking forward to working with you, learning resolutions. She'll be with us just for a few months, though, because she is going away to college as a lawyer. I attended a water board meeting. I have asked Nick to report on this, but I do have a couple things to report on. Our infrastructure is incredibly old and has not been maintained as it should. The New York State Comptroller has told us our rates are way too low. We've lost out on grants because we're not charging enough to help ourselves. We've been told if you're not going to help yourself, we're not going to give you grants. And I didn't realize how strict they were until some of the people that have checked on it told me. Tom Latini made out a report comparing water rates for Endicott and surrounding areas. Ours is exceptionally low. The state controller has been telling us for years. It was also, I already spoke about that. In other words, we are not helping ourselves in this area. With drilling another well, getting filters for our rainy well, and replacing aging pipes as we repave village streets, we must put money into capital improvement as well as raise the rates more. This is necessary if we expect to repair our infrastructure and move forward. But the water board will be making recommendations, and Nick and I will keep on top of that. We'll continue working with the water board and the water department, and then we will come back to the board when we do have a proposal to make. We met a company who wants to put a solar farm at Kmart. This will only be for low-income NYSEG property owners. The agency is also discussing a plan to put solar panels on the roof of low-income property owners. This company is also requesting some kind of a pilot, so it's not a big tax benefit to the village. So we don't know what we're going to do yet. We were all just discussing it, and maybe you'll have more of an insight if you don't mind to get to that. The primary voting is here tomorrow from 6 to 9, so everybody who wants to do that. A little update. I am establishing a Mayor Advisory Tree Committee to work for the Tree City grants, collaborating with the existing tree board. Carrie couldn't be here tonight. She is on the phone. One of our streets in Endicott had been neglected for many years and required several trees to be taken down to protect our village infrastructure. Right after that, I contacted Cornell Cooperative Extension to see what kind of trees I should replace them with, so not as to endanger our infrastructure further. I was told there are grants for this kind of project, but it requires a lot of paperwork. With the workload we have, I really didn't want to take this on, so I was incredibly happy with volunteers offered help. Terry Farrell and Councilwoman Heather Staley will be doing all the legwork for this to happen. I can sign the application for the grant. Once we receive confirmation of receiving a grant, we will make up a resolution, give it to our lawyer to review, to make sure there's no strings attached, and then bring it to the village board to approve any grants. We will not be accepting them without the board being involved. And I have been advised by Lori Brocklebank with the Davy Group that they will give us volunteer hours to manage and protect our trees. This group has been with the Binghamton Tree City Project since it started 20 years ago. Again, I take any volunteers I can get. So anybody out there who wants to volunteer for something, I will welcome you anytime. And so that's all I have to say. Eileen, do you have something to report on?
I do. Been in contact with Terry about the tree committee. We were going to meet at Round Top, which I think is pretty fitting, being it's so beautiful up there with all the trees. And it's free. We sit under the thing. But we had to cancel for various reasons. That's coming up. The curbs on Page Avenue at the corners, Page Avenue and Franklin Street. I don't know if you've gone down there. Anthony, gorgeous. They did a really nice job. They have handicap accessible curbs in there.
Paid for by the federal government.
Exactly. The contractor did a great job. It looks really pretty. They cleaned up their mess, and I was just very impressed because they left big holes, and I thought, oh no, we have to fill that in. But no, they filled in the holes. So not perfect, like not new streets paved, but it's very nice, and people seem to be happy on Franklin Street.
The street will be next, so they do the corners before the street.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
You see the corners being done.
Right.
Get to the street,
And
so
and they just a lot of people are happy that it's being done.
Yeah.
It's good.
There's a rough stretch to there.
It is a rough stretch in there. Going to be on the Endicott Police Department new officer. What is it called? I don't know. I don't think it has a name yet. Chief called me and said that the PBA wanted me to be representative for the police department. So I will be going to those meetings. I don't know when they are. Haven't heard from Pat yet. Applefest applications are out and people are going crazy. There's a huge waiting list already. I don't think we can make it 3 blocks long. So that's a lot. But we'll see. But there is a large waiting list. Endicott Visitor Center is hosting their outdoor concerts. One is tomorrow, right out on the front of the Endicott Visitor Center. It's lovely. People come and bring chairs and sneak their White Claws in or whatever they got to do. We don't really care. Just enjoy the music. That goes on, I think, from 5 to 7 tomorrow. The Porch Fest, as much as I was kind of on a stall there, boy, I got a lot of emails today on it, and they're ready to go. So we might have to pull that off. I think it's going to be fun. I think we're going to use the fire station for the main bands because they're celebrating their 100th anniversary. So that would be really kind of cool to give them a good nod. So I have some ideas into how. Huh? Yes, I know. Yeah, got some ideas for the arch. I'm dreaming of that at night. It's going to involve balloons and 100-year anniversary. It's going to be pretty cool. I have a little pet project that I've been after for a long time. I need to get a hold of Donna Lepardo, and I remember when she and I were in the visitor center upstairs. I don't know if you've ever been up there. There's an information room that just has logs and logs and logs, and it has big, huge historical magazine stuff, newspaper stuff from George F. Johnson. It's amazing to go up there and flip through them, but they're kind of just in a plastic thing that's tucked into it, and they're in okay shape now, but I'd like to get a grant to preserve them so that they can't be destroyed, by just the air. They're starting to yellow pretty good. If you're ever interested, go over there and check it out, Pat. It is, Nick, it is wicked cool, like almost goosebump cool. So that I'll work with Gloria on that, and I will see that to the end. That will get done. We will preserve the George F. Johnson newspaper. It's really neat to look at. And that's it. I think that's enough. I've been busy.
All right, good. Well, we have to get ready for the restaurants on the avenue.
Yes. Right. What is that going to be? When is it? We don't know.
That's all brand new. I talked to Mike Romeo about it, and he said that he said, well, you checked with the other restaurants, and I had last year when we wanted the food truck at BAT. So
previously, I invited and gave up all the restaurants free space on the avenue to bring a bistro out or bring your chairs out and serve your own food at the Apple Fest, and didn't get any takers.
We'll try it again.
Yeah. That tried several times, but we'll give it another whirl. We'll go down.
Trying to get the avenue as busy as we can.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right, Pat, have you got anything to report on?
Yeah, I got a few small things. Number one, I watched the Endicott Proud meeting this afternoon, and it's one thing I took out of it was that there's a lot of people in Endicott looking to beautify Endicott, volunteering their time, even volunteering to pay for flowers and shrubs out of pocket, which I think is very, very positive. Good to have a positive attitude toward Endicott instead of having a negative. Yesterday, I'm a member of Endicott's Sertoma Club, and yesterday we spent the early morning hours and up till noon at the golf course, beautifying the course, filling in divots with some of the UE Key Club people, cheerleaders, sports teams.
On all the holes?
All the holes.
Wow. That's a
And
huge job.
my wife was wondering why do you have to do that for those prima donnas? But the Dick's Open is such a gem for the village.
Mm-hmm.
These golfers really comment positively on how great the course is when they come. I'm a golfer, so I walk in the course yesterday. It's like a carpet. Beautiful. It's in beautiful shape. So it's good to see that Dick's does reimburse some of the service clubs for their labor, which is pretty cheap, but getting any money for service clubs these days is kind of difficult. So I just thought it was very positive to see some of the younger people, some of the old cadres at the Endicott Patrolling, and one of the younger guys from 66. So
Contributing to the community, that's awesome.
that's right.
That's awesome.
Number two, I had just a comment, that kind of a dream I've had for a while. I had lunch with my wife in Owego for Father's Day, little Father's Day lunch at this little place down on the river. It wasn't downtown, it was just east of downtown. And it's a shame that with all the riverfront we have here in Endicott, we don't have anything.
Where'd you go, MJ?
And I've just kicked around the idea someday of having some sort of a stilted marketplace or restaurant, something that we could put in, even if it floods, it's up high maybe. But this place in Owego is right that level where it could flood, but if it floods, they deal with it. But I've just thought about investigating someday and checking with some investors if a good flood insurance maybe can do something along that whole riverfront area. Number three, I heard the comments the mayor said about Burn Dairy. That's right at the end of the street where the school is, I believe. And would there have to be some sort of a village law to prevent parents of school students from turning left at the end of that street? There's other streets that come into that main street that turn left. And just looking to see if that's a showstopper or ways of getting around that. Some sort of village law, or does the state DOT, would they be able to stop the project? So I'm concerned about that.
Okay.
And lastly, the Kmart Plaza and that solar activity, just my opinion, there should be some better use for that than having a solar farm down there. Just my comment feelings. I hate to see that big area loaded up with solar panels. I just think there's got to be a better use for it. So.
Agreed.
Thanks.
Hi, Nick, what would you like to report on?
Well, good evening. It's nice to see a few people in the audience here. My family and I took a ride on the carousel Friday. We had a really nice time and had Joey's Italian Ice after. It really looked great. Our street department did a nice job on the most recent repairs. As the liaison to Little Italy, I had the privilege of opening up the summer concert series at the George W. Johnson Park. It was a beautiful evening, perfect weather. Ryan Wilson did a great job singing. Everyone had a really good time. The park was hopping. There were kids on the playgrounds, ball games going on, the concert. It was really incredible to see how many people that was actually
Makes you proud to be from Endicott, doesn't it?
It was, yeah. It was great seeing so much life, and it certainly gave me a lot of pride to live in this community. I ended the evening with dinner at the Oaks Inn, and that was excellent as always. It was kind of an end to the perfect day. The concerts are held on Thursday nights at 7 p.m., so if you can attend, bring a chair, blanket, you'll have a great time. The mayor and I attended the water board meeting. There was a lot of information covered, and I want to give some basic updates. I am summarizing Doug Courtwright's email. He's the chairman of the water board. The Hayes Ave project is basically complete, just a few minor details and things to complete before it's functioning, a fence and a test. The second water tank on Hayes Ave has been repaired, and the porcelain interior should be completed next week. The hydrant flushing will conclude in 2 weeks. They're going to take a 2-week intermission, and then they're going to resume again. Apparently, they haven't had a ton of calls recently of brown water, so that's a good thing. The water department has completed some projects, the valve and valve box replacements. They're going to be replacing the water main on Smith Drive. It will go out for bid after the study has been completed and reviewed. Their current priority is to replace the pipe in the Nanticoke Creek, Glendale area. The water department is consulting with the DEC and the Army Corps of Engineers. From my understanding, this is a pretty major undertaking. The water board is hoping the bond to pay for Hayes Ave and also the purchase of new meters. They're looking at 9,500 residential and 250 commercial units. They're about $211 a pop, and that's not including installation. But that could be a good thing for the village ultimately, so that's exciting. And, you know, as the mayor stated, we reviewed some of the water rates from other municipalities. Thanks to Tom Latini for putting that together. Most all municipalities charge a capital maintenance fee or a capital improvement fee on every bill. I think that is something we should consider, and I'm looking forward to the water board's recommendation on that. And our water board and water department are diligently working on addressing issues, improving our water system within their resources, that is. I attended the planning board meeting where they had a public hearing on the burned dairy. There were several comments and concerns, all reasonable, valid. I think it went pretty good. And Terry Farrell delivered me a tree packet last week. I have been reviewing it. It's a very interesting read, so thank you for that, Terry. And I also attended a Zoom meeting on the Kmart Plaza with the solar, but we'll talk about that later. That's all I have tonight. Thank you.
Do you have anything to report on?
Yeah, I had a couple of questions. In your comments, Linda, you said, what was it you said about the, I guess the meeting is open to the public to come in there in person. Is there any limit on people or anything?
No, I checked with the governor's office myself, and he said no. So it's kind of pleasant.
Okay, and do we have to
do
do this? Do we have to do distancing in there, or what do we do?
Oh, nope. All I have to do is put the same kind of sign up. He told me I have to put a sign up, which is up, that says anyone who's fully vaccinated does not have to wear a mask. I don't have to ask anybody. I don't have to tell them what to do. I don't have to tell them to distance. According to the governor's office, if they don't wear a mask and they get sick, that's their problem. That's how it was.
And so what was it you said about the public hearing time, or I mean the hearing the visitor time, whether you're in the building or not in the building?
Well, right now, things are as it has been for the past year and a half. But if the governor tells us that we have to go back to the open meetings law, people cannot speak on Zoom unless they're physically in the building. The governor has not told us that, so people can still speak on Zoom until I'm ordered different.
Okay, if and when that happens, can you get that in writing?
Yes.
From whoever's telling you that.
The governor will send it to me by way of Phil Rumsby, and I will forward it to everyone, so everyone will see that. I don't expect it until Bob and I were talking. I don't expect it until at least July 5th or 6th at the earliest.
At least till what?
July 5th or 6th at the earliest, because that's when he's making another recommendation, and maybe who knows what he's going to do.
Yeah. Then the second thing I had was, as everybody pretty well knows, Dick's Sporting Goods Open is next week. When Tim Huston was code officer, we had it organized with the DOT that they would mow our entrance there coming in from the highway, the different ramps and where our sign is for Endicott and the circle and all of that. And they timed it. I think they were doing it once a month, but they timed it so it was always a week or week and a half ahead of the tournament. But if you drive out there right now, it looks terrible. It's weeds. They didn't weed whack anything. When they mow it, it looks beautiful. But if you can call them, Linda, this is what they had agreed to do 5 or 6 years ago, and they've been keeping up on it ever since. But it's not in good shape now at all. So that's the first impression anybody gets of our village when they come in off the highway.
Yes, I'd be glad to do that.
That's state.
At state, well, Department of Transportation.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have a
Right.
new contact, DOT, so that works out well. I just have a brand new contact.
It'll be done before the tournament starts. It always is. We always panic.
Like you said,
Well,
I'll call just.
I don't think we should just say that it's going to be done. I think we need to call and make sure 100% that it gets done.
Sure.
Well,
We can't rely on that to happen, because then if it doesn't happen, it's too late to do it. Then I had a question on the down in Mercer Park on the flood wall. There's a big project going on there. Have we been notified what they're doing?
Well, Anthony, what all did they tell us on that?
Yeah, it's a DEC project. They're replacing a storm sewer line that runs through the flood wall. So that's the DEC. They should be there a couple of weeks. But that's something they're taking.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's probably a good place to take a picture because you'll never see it again. It's a hole through the flood wall. Well, actually, it's a flood levee, the dirt flood wall. It's a hole where you could put a semi-truck in it. So if we ever had the 2011 flood this week, we'd be in big trouble. But
wow, I think I might go down there.
it's a huge project.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
It is.
It's right behind the apartment buildings there,
Nice.
right next to the bridge. It's very strange to see a huge hole through the flood wall. We've been protected since I think 1950 from that wall, but we're not right now. But I'm sure they know what they're doing. So. Then the next thing I had was this business that opened on the Avenue, CPR. How did you know about that was going to be opening?
I've been running into them lately. He works for the DOT, as a matter of fact, and so he had asked me if I would come down. So I.
So did you notify the rest of the board that they were invited to?
It wasn't my party. I was just told to show up. I don't know who else he invited.
That's the 14th grand opening in the last 4 months that the board has never heard one word about. So this is a pattern. It's not, and you use that same story every time, but we are absolutely not being informed of that, plus many other things.
You'll get over it.
And then the last thing I had was this reference to Tree City USA. I think it's a great idea to have this Tree City USA plan, especially in view of last October when all those trees were torn down on the entire street, which is just barren right now. But and I think it's very important and very advisable for us to go forward with that and make a board advisory committee to do this. And one of the big reasons I think this is an important project, if anybody wants to, if they haven't done it yet, drive down at Page Avenue and Maple Street, across the street from the carousel, and you'll see exactly what trees does for a village. It's absolutely gorgeous what the National Pipe Company has done there.
It's stunning. It's stunning what
and
you've done.
It's such a, if you drive by and you don't know it, it's such a shock because they had an 8-foot chain link fence around there. And I and everyone else assumed that was just going to be a parking lot back in there. Well, there is no parking lot except behind the building. The building's beautiful too. That entire corner that we thought would be a parking lot is nothing but planted sod and probably 30 or 40 trees. And the trees are not small. They're 30, 40, 50 feet tall trees. So they spent a lot of money.
Those trees came from Canada. They were being shipped in from Canada because I stopped and told and complimented the workers down there. It's outstanding.
That's great.
So that's probably the most beautiful, most well-done project that I've seen in Endicott for 20 or 30 years.
And
Very, very well done.
Did you see how he widened it a little bit to give the park more parking?
Yes, what they did, they gave some of their own land to.
Right.
Well, first of all, that's not Endicott. That's the village. That's the town of Union. But what they did was they gave part of their own land to the town. So Page Avenue and also Maple Avenue across from the carousel is probably 50% wider. And I'm assuming they're going to put diagonal parking in there, but they did that, so there's much more parking and a much more safe area when you're going to that park. So they really, I know there's been some controversy. I know there's been some controversies in the past with the neighbors down there, but as far as this building and project is concerned, they've done a fantastic job.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't heard anybody complain.
I don't think you're going to either.
Nope.
That's all I have.
Okay. Bob, what have you got for us tonight?
I only have, well, I've got three things. Two of them are on the agenda, the solar facility at Kmart Plaza and the Altura project, so I'm going to just wait for those to come up.
Oh, okay.
On the Burn Dairy, just to clarify, so this is under jurisdiction of the planning board right now, not the village board. And through the 239 process, they received comments from DOT about the project. There was preliminary comments. There wasn't any kind of decision made, but there were some preliminary comments from DOT saying that they would prefer to see a right in and right out. Meaning you have to turn right to get in off of Main Street, and you can only turn right getting out. Not allowed to turn left coming out or left coming in. They're working on that right now. So the DOT has not made a final decision on that. They're working with the applicant's engineer. They're generating more data in terms of traffic flow and accidents and so forth.
Okay.
And so there was like Nick said, there was a planning board public hearing on Thursday night. Planning board did not make any final decision. We're waiting for DOT to get back to us. So that's going to be picked up again in mid-July at the next planning board meeting. So right now, that issue is still being worked out.
Okay.
Are you involved in that discussion at all, Bob?
Yeah, I was in attendance at the planning board meeting, and I helped, guide the planning board through the process. I have not been in touch with DOT, if that's what you mean, but I'm working with the code enforcement officer and the planning board in this process.
Of course, I'm sure they know this, but people could leave Burn Dairy going on to Loader Avenue, but they would definitely have to change that light sequence because it's a real long light there, but that's another possibility for people exiting anyway.
And if McDonald's survived that, I'm sure Burn Dairy can.
Yeah.
I think they will.
And, my thought is the DOT just redid Endwell. They made a turn-only lane, which I'm not saying I'm a crazy fan of.
Right.
But
You had to get used to it.
I kind of wonder if they're going to plan on doing something like
I asked them, and they said no, that they double-checked that. I talked to our new DOT guy, myself personally, and he said we were considering it, but because of the traffic, we aren't going to do it. And that's
It's kind of tight down there.
Now, though, with the 30-mile-an-hour school zone, it might be beneficial to do it.
Yeah, they still might go back and check it out again. Who knows? Who knows?
To slow traffic down.
Yeah, so he might. They might revisit
You do get a lot of traffic there with the Glendale.
Yeah. Like I said,
Of course, not to throw water on the whole discussion, but when you leave McDonald's, you can't turn left, and that's probably way less congested there than Loader would be.
True. I just don't want the village to be responsible if there's an accident for somebody turning left over. I don't want to get sued.
Well, that would not be anything on the village.
Well, I'm glad. Well, if we approved, but that's why I'm glad that the DOT's doing it. Then they can take
Yeah,
responsibility.
Main Street is a state street.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice. We don't have to worry too much.
Anthony.
Yes, Anthony, what have you got to say for us tonight?
Just a couple of things. As Larry mentioned, I attended the NICOM conference a couple weeks ago. NICOM always puts on a great conference, a lot of good classes, some of the new happenings that are going on throughout the state, and just some, kind of talking about some older issues too, just to keep everyone up to date with a lot of items. So, attended a couple good classes. One on infrastructure, which actually Mayor David from Binghamton put that class on. So, kind of talked about how they do things in Binghamton, how they schedule things out, and how they allocate for funding, and some grants that are available. That some that we've gotten, and other ones that are coming up, throughout the year. So, something to keep an eye on for us as well. Main Street, New York State Main Street kind of revitalization class. Talked about other downtowns throughout the state and what they've done, how they've revitalized, and some of the updates they've incorporated into their downtown. Some are pretty interesting. Some pretty good notes that I'd like to bring to our Washington Ave class and see how they may fit into our downtown. Maybe a little bit different, kind of twist here or there, but some good ideas, kind of gets you thinking in a different direction. And I guess one of the big classes, we had a class up there, and also I've done some research since being back, is the federal stimulus. So we have allocated funding from the federal government, part of the stimulus plan. So the money has been sent from the government, from the federal government to the state government. The state has basically 30 days to turn it around and send it to all the municipalities. They've asked for a 30-day extension, which they have. So we're expecting to see something mid-end of July on our fund. We don't know the definite amount yet because they haven't come out. We have an idea of how they're going to split up the money, but it's not definite yet how they're going to do it. I mean, it could be population based. There's a couple different formulas they can use, but we don't know for sure how it's going to be distributed. And it's actually it's more complicated the more you dig into it and how you can spend the money, because that's what everyone wants to know is how. What can we allocate this funding to? So there's really 4 different tests you have to go through to see how you can spend it. 2 of them are really COVID related. I won't get into too much, but they have to relate to something with COVID, either an expense or monies we paid or people we've hired to deal with COVID or buildings we have to build or retrofit for COVID. So those are really the first 2 tests. The third test is a loss of revenue test, which is a pretty interesting formula they're using. Like I said, I won't get into it today because it's not final yet, but you kind of calculate over the next few years how much revenue you lose, and there's a guaranteed floor, so you can allocate at least some money towards this, but you can't allocate all of it. But when you go through this test, the money that you do allocate is pretty much open for anything. So it kind of gives you more flexibility that way.
Is there any way we could allocate some of that money towards the snowstorm?
No.
That's a loss.
That's
Okay.
separate, yeah. The snowstorm was stuff we tried to FEMA. Reimbursement for that, but it was denied because there wasn't enough collective losses to allow for a FEMA project. Okay. And then the last test for that federal stimulus is the water, sewer, or broadband. So any water, sewer, broadband projects are eligible for that type of money. So it's still ongoing. One thing they did say is don't plan on really spending this money right away because there's really a lot that goes into it. So we have to make sure that we're spending it on the right areas and that these couple of years tests that come out for the loss of revenue is going to be interesting to see how that plays out. So it's going to be a lot of talk going on, I'm sure, over the next 6 months to see what's coming up.
You talk about water and sewer broadband. What does that actually mean? Do we use it we're talking about water rates and things, infrastructure difficulties. Can we use anything for that? Or
infrastructure is eligible. Yeah.
Nice.
Talking water lines, sewer lines, broadband service for Endicott. So that's eligible as of now. That's pretty cut and dry.
Well, before we blow the rates out of the water, could we? This could be a saving grace for us, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could be. I mean, 2 million. We'll do some. So 2.8 was the number we initially thought that we received from the stimulus. But we'll wait to see the final number. Okay. But yeah, I mean, it could do some pretty good sized projects for us.
All right.
So it's interesting. I'll keep you updated as things come on. So that was at the conference. NICOM is also going to be putting on webinars too as more information comes out. So all of us throughout the state will be updated over the next month or so. Had a couple meetings. So a couple of our insurance policies, our workers' comp and liability insurance, they both renew July 1. So the meeting, going back to when we were working on the budget, meeting with our insurance agents on both of those policies. And good news to report actually on both of them. So workers' comp, we saw a reduction year over year of nearly $32,000 in our premium. So we saved, that's about 13% savings. And that's, workers' comp is based on claims experience, so we've done pretty well with that. Also, we have that workers' comp PPO group, so anyone who is injured has kind of a fast track to service and care. And we've done that 6-7 years now, so
that was a really good move.
yeah. I mean, we're
That was
pretty
Comp
much,
Alliance?
yeah, we're still with Comp Alliance.
Amazing.
So we're about half of where we were 6 years ago in premium. So it's worked, and it's done well for us. So I was happy to see that. Liability insurance, we went back and forth on that, and we're just about ready to close on that. So we just have to renew before July 1. So as of now, we have a couple quotes, and the low quote being $66,000 less than last year, which is about a little over 18% savings. So that market has worked well for us as well. So, a lot of credit goes to our brokers out there who are working for us, so they're shopping out and see what's the best, product as far as coverage and cost. So if you look at those two, and then with our savings, we're going to that Humana, the Medicare PPO group, which was about $179,000 savings earlier this year, which we started that in May. All those three combined in the last few months, it's about $278,000 savings, and that's reflected in this year's budget. So hopefully this year, next year, we have some decent experience with both of those and keep those for free. Definitely happy to see that. A couple other things. We had a Washington Ave meeting. We have one coming up this Wednesday. Hoping to bring that to the public pretty soon. And mentioned solar. We'll get to that later. And just the last thing is we did start to receive some information on FEMA for COVID-19 costs. So I filed all that paperwork Friday and accepted, and just had to submit the final forms today. So we're in the program now. We'll, as things come out, we'll have to start submitting claims and stuff like that. But we're eligible as of now. So we're part of the FEMA claim, and hopefully we'll see some refunds.
That's awesome.
And that's
Good.
Just one more question.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, when we did the budget this past spring, you heard me kind of complain and moan about the date that they take for the like a stock market date.
Yeah.
And we saw that budget item blow up across the board. That was like March of 2020, which was probably the worst date they ever could have taken.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, did they take another, when did they tell you what the rate would be for the following year? Because March of 2021 probably should be pretty good market for the village, but do you ever see that number go down, or does it stay level?
No, so the projection we have for this year, which is really the February 2022 payment, but we pay it early in December and we get a 50% credit. So that number is pretty much fixed. The next number we'll see in this fall, we'll start projecting for the following. That'll be like next year's budget. So this fall we should kind of get an idea of what the rates will look like for next year. And that'll be based on March 2020.
But if you saw a big fluctuation on the upside, do you see those costs go down, or do they
Level
never
off?
really go down?
Yeah, well, my experience is that they go up quicker than they go down. So if the market has been good, they'll keep it more flat or
It's
a
a way
small
world.
reduction with the anticipation of, the unforeseen future.
Something should be done about
Yeah.
that, but no,
Mhm.
keep quiet.
I
Yeah.
agree.
Good luck, right?
But that's what I've seen.
All right.
Anthony, I do have a question.
Yeah.
I've been getting a lot of questions on the Washington Avenue committee in progress. Is there a way, you're the chairman of the committee, is there a way you could do something to let the public know what the steps are, what to expect, maybe post it on the website or something? For example, I'm not in the Washington Ave committee, so I don't know what's going on, but if you could do something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying tomorrow,
I
but
have a flyer
at some
there
point.
going to, like, that white mail. We can do that.
Yeah, I think we could,
You know,
write something
just
up.
like the stages, what to expect,
Yeah.
a timeline even. I mean, and it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
an exact timeline, but there's going to be selections on a website, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
I think it's
Maybe where we're
important.
at to this point.
Yeah.
And then what's coming up.
I think it's important for the public to know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I don't even know.
I think we could, mention that at our meeting this week, and then come up with something maybe next week or so.
Thank you. I think that would be
Some kind of
great.
information on that.
Yeah, I think I want to stop by on Friday on the avenue with me.
Thank you,
I can let
Anthony.
them know too. Because I have everything. I have all the papers. So people would like to stop in.
Linda's got it all tucked in right here.
Well, I also have it in writing because sometimes up here leaks.
Would you want it on the website, Seth, too?
The website, I mean, even, I don't know if the news would report on it, but something, even a press release, something, just so people know. Because everyone really cares about the avenue. There's a lot of passion. And I think it's important for people to stay informed on that.
I'll get
I'm
you
sure
that.
we can
I'd be curious myself.
get
You know?
Me too. Okay.
We have it, but I don't forget it. We don't have any special presentations. We have no public hearing. Now we come to our first hearing of visitors. And we really have visitors here in the boardroom tonight. I don't know if they'd like to speak, but I sincerely hope they would. We will take our visitors that are in the boardroom first, and then we will take people from on Zoom. Just remember, you have 3 minutes to speak. No personal attacks. This isn't a time to debate with the board, but we do want to hear your concerns and your comments. So if there's anyone who'd like to speak, please stand up.
Donna Mooney, and I'm at 304 Wheeler Place, but I was wondering, with them doing the Mercer project, was there any way that the residents could have been let know what was going on? Because now with that huge gap, you can look out and see the river. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, how did you
And,
find?
and it's taken them 2 weeks to move the dirt up into this mountain, into the truck. They back it up, boom, boom, dump it out of the truck, and then drive down this mountain they've created. But the neighbors are just going crazy not knowing. And they've asked different, Anthony gave us a good answer today, but some of the other kind of created their own answers, I think.
Well, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Maybe we can coordinate with DEC.
Yeah, because
So we'd like to see something, come out with the news or something, because
Mm-hmm.
the river has come over that flood wall.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it.
I did
And
too.
it came in
Yep.
a row before part of our cemetery.
Right.
So
I remember
I know
that.
they're doing something, but it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
yeah, down there especially, yeah.
You know,
Is that cool to see the river through the flood wall? Or
No.
scary?
No, not really.
Not at all.
Yeah, I'm going to go down and see because that's got to be crazy.
It is crazy.
Wow.
And it's taken them 2 weeks to move this.
So that inner circle has to be supported by something.
No, it's
How's it
empty. You could move a big truck in there.
Oh my gosh.
It's awful. I know it's going to be a little dark when you're going.
Yeah, I'll go tomorrow.
Make a trip over.
I will.
because
I will.
It's really.
The reason it's scary is when you think, if you ever went down there in 2011, when that water was 1 foot, well, right at that spot, it went over the top of the wall. But right now, the entire wall is going all the way down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And it's about
Worried about
30 yards wide hole.
And it is a DOT thing, but we still should have been.
Would have been nice to know, right?
I know, well, they brought all the equipment in a few days. They're there about 6 or 6:30 in the morning. See all that going on. They leave
They let us know.
4:30 at night.
Yeah, well, we didn't even know either.
I know.
You know, that's crazy.
Crazy, yeah.
We have a contact at DEC. I can reach out to him in the morning and see if they
Mhm.
have like a
I mean, kind of a
press release
courtesy
kind of write up,
That's a good idea.
or put our social media group.
Anthony, is that DEC? I thought Corps of Engineers does all the flood walls.
I know it's coordinated with the DEC. Yeah.
What's the flood about
There's
still
all
standing?
Proton on their trucks,
Uh-huh.
and you've seen them in other.
Huh.
Yeah, so they must have contracted with them.
Yeah.
What have they done?
Well, I hope the remnants of that tropical storm are going south of us.
Yeah.
Right?
because-
I just heard the warning came over on Mexico.
Yeah, it took them 2 weeks.
That's scary.
To get the dirt out. Now, it's not gonna go back in there real quick.
Wow.
Also, Burn Dairy thing, they had more accidents in that corner last year than any other
Mm-hmm.
corner. I know the police have that number.
Mm-hmm.
Through the church window, 2 or 3 right down the corner.
Mm-hmm. That's been a notorious corner.
And even though you're supposed to go a certain way coming out of McDonald's, if you're there, they don't.
They don't listen. I think I'm the only law-abiding citizen that does what I'm saying.
I think they're going to pull the MV 105s for that to look at all the.
Yeah, there's a whole data analysis that they're going.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's really a poor location for them.
Yeah.
I even was
I
at
agree.
the corner
Right.
by the funeral home,
Mm-hmm.
waiting for the light to change person. The guy comes to the on Loder Avenue, goes through the park, and then comes through the park.
Oh, gee. Wow.
And they'll do that.
Yeah, there's been a few deaths on that corner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Mm-hmm. Larry Copla's nephew died in a motorcycle
Yeah,
accident.
right by that tree.
Yep. Thank you, Donna. George, did you have anything to say tonight?
Sure. Hi, George Fiedler, Day 24. I'm very excited about the Washington Avenue. It's excellent. I don't think there's enough information in the public progress since it's been mentioned. I just recently found out that it was 6 years in the making,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
which is profound that you actually got.
Mm-hmm.
And what speaks volumes is basically visuals. Let's have visuals. I would like to see the architectural drawings or plans, or just the ideas even, and then let the public know that these are ideas, nothing's like set in stone, but show it to the public so everyone can look at it and say, I've got a suggestion about this, I've got a comment about this, I've got a suggestion about that. I'd also like to see plans that are coming from the architect of Texas.
Yeah, his wife has got Alzheimer's and it's been keeping him busy, so I'm hoping to get them soon. He's doing it as a favor. He's not contracted by the village.
Right.
But I'm hoping to have them in another week. And as soon as I get them, I will call a special meeting.
So I'm wondering how he's doing that, like 3,000 miles away.
I sent him all the pictures from Bergman, the ones that you mentioned you
Okay.
had.
Yes.
Plus, I sent him other drawings. He sent them back to me. I told him what it was like. I went down and took pictures on the avenue. He used to live in Vestal, so it's not like he's never seen the avenue. Yeah, so I'm hoping to get that soon. But he wants to make it so perfect. He's asked me where the storm drains are and where the trees are going to go. And
Right.
of course, we've just now started talking about lights and stuff. But
Isn't he supposed to tell us that?
well, once I get it, I'm going to bring it in and show you. But that's just because I couldn't get the other engineers to do anything, so I asked him to do it.
You couldn't get Delta to do it? You couldn't get Delta to do anything?
No, but that's okay because we'll all share.
Did they refuse to do it when you asked them?
He just didn't.
Are you related to this architect in Texas?
Of course I am. Nobody else would do it for free.
What's your relation to them?
Can we go on now?
I
What else would you like to say?
Inappropriate.
My main reason for bringing up the subject is there's been a lot of talk about how are we going to approach the road.
Mm-hmm.
Washington Avenue in general, its width, its measurements and whatnot. My personal experience is I used 3 days in a row, I had to take that, I didn't have to, I just did because I wanted to see what the traffic was like. I have opinions on it too. And I had to take my cousin to school at UE for the BOCES program.
Oh,
Both on the way there and just for fun and giggles, I also took the route all the way back. All 3 days, both trips, I had to stop behind a delivery truck. Somebody was double parked, okay? And if I was really in a hurry, I'm not ignorant, I've got a child in the car. I don't want to drive into oncoming traffic. because both sides of the street were filled with parking.
We're going to have loading zones. We finally decided we're going to have to, because we investigated the parking lots and the alleyways the trucks are telling me they're too small. Some people don't have back doors, so they can't deliver from the back. So we were thinking of loading zones. And my opinion is this is brand new. You could appreciate this. If we don't have a loading zone, but we get a company that comes in that we need to have one, we can simply, as a board, make the decision to take out 2 parking spaces and put in a loading zone. As a board, I do believe we have that right. So we can accommodate new and old people. We have to accommodate the ones we have now, but we don't know what the future is going to hold.
And the loading zone is fine, but there should be, if we have well over 300 parking spaces on both sides of the street behind all the buildings, if they're going to spend that much money doing the street, there's a lot of money left over to take care of behind the buildings, to make passageways and also truck avenue, passage, ingress, and egress, specifically on the side of Garfield.
Yes, yeah.
There could be ingress and egress.
Larry Kovla came up with the same thought.
Right, and I brought that up during our meeting.
Yes, and that is one thing we do want to
Parking
investigate.
should not be allowed really on Washington Avenue doing this for a couple of reasons.
You're right.
We want eating outside on the sidewalk. Okay, you're talking about a bike lane, that could be behind the buildings, right?
It's true, I didn't think about that.
Now, if there's
That's true.
cars parked, and if somebody's double parked to do deliveries, I understand loading zone would be fine. If there's no parking, you have room for a loading zone that will not hinder traffic going back and forth. Double parking should not be allowed because you have a law that states there has to be free movement of emergency vehicles, police, fire, and other emergency vehicles that come. If you have parking on either side of the street, the whole length of Washington Avenue, okay. Now in the back, the way that you design an ingress and egress system is wide enough for fire trucks to attend. And that would include probably cleaning up the alleys,
Yes.
making them nice and level.
We want people to start parking there so that they won't park out on the street.
This is where ideas should come, but they need visuals to actually see. Because I pulled it up on Google Satellite, and I blew it up, and I go, why don't we use this empty space for beautification? And also make the owners of the buildings responsible for the condition of the look of the rear, the garbage that's in the alley, the trash cans, the dumpsters. Some dumpsters have been placed that just don't make sense to me.
Yeah, we are addressing that. But bring some of these things up when we go talk to the police at the SEPTED meeting, because the code will be there.
And that's a good point that you just bring up, Linda, actually, because they have to be involved. It's got to be a design that's not going to obstruct their view for security.
Exactly, yes.
No median.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of great points there, and I really do think the back alleys are the key to the F.
And I think if we do them, we might even have to end up doing them first, so that people will start using them.
I mean, if you want employees, business owners, employees,
sure,
to park in the alleys, they have to be safe enough for them to feel comfortable to park.
Yes.
So there's a lot to it. And unloading zone, not all the businesses can take backdoor deliveries. Many can, not all. So I do think we would need a loading zone. And at the same time, I hate to risk sacrificing any parking spaces. But maybe
if we use the parking lots
they
more.
could be loading zones certain times of the day. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah, I
You know, like, for example, mornings, maybe mornings are a little slow.
Yes.
5 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Yeah, maybe
loading
that's
zone.
a good idea.
And then it can be free parking after that. I don't know.
To see how that would work, but that's a good idea.
Just a
So that's
suggestion.
good.
I've made a lot of deliveries, and I've seen all sorts of things like that.
I'm going to put that down at times. That's good. I'll bring that up.
Yeah, I wonder when they do make food deliveries.
Yeah, because you don't want to sacrifice it during prime time.
No.
Those are valuable parking spots to customers, and we certainly don't want to deter anyone from coming to the F.
And you know it's also nice if
Avenue
you
is
don't
full.
have parking in front of like the brewery, for example. People, when they go by, can see everybody sitting out on the patio without a car in the way, and maybe that would entice them to say, oh my gosh, look at all those people there. I think I'll stop. Well, that's what I'm kind of thinking of marketing. Yeah.
Well,
Sure.
and on that same token,
Yes.
outdoor dining, outdoor seating,
Yes.
I really believe is key. If you drive through downtown Binghamton, even Owego, you see the outdoor seating, they're always full.
And we like Police Chief Gary's idea of putting, like making platforms like skids, taking up 1 or 2 parking places in front of some of the restaurants if they want to, and making temporary summer-only patios. And they could be really nice. So we are thinking of stuff like that because you're absolutely right. And we're having a lot more green spaces. All the corners are going to have green spaces because people don't want all blacktop. They want to see some green, and they want to see trees.
And again, these are just my opinions. I'm not on the Washington Ave committee, but
you know, I want everyone's ideas.
I do live here.
Anybody, my committee is open to absolutely anybody, and that's what makes it nice because I've had a lot of people, like George was kind enough to come in, and he had some excellent ideas. I need as many as I can get because I need to think outside the box. But when the fire marshal said to me, Mayor, I need a place for my fire truck, I realized I better talk to the fire marshal.
Right.
But thank you so much. Now, is there somebody on Zoom that would like to speak?
If anyone is on Zoom who would like to speak, if you want to go to the reactions tab, click on the raise your hand feature, or if you're joining us by phone only, you can hit *9, and that will raise hands as well. So we'll start off with Terry Farrell.
Hey everyone, Terry Farrell,
Hi,
404. Hi, 404 Hazel Avenue. I wish I could be there in person, but I'm sitting at a baseball game right now because they called it and then they restarted it. So really crazy because our Sertoma fields have been, all our games have been canceled, but they're not giving up over here at Arnold Park. So anyway, I just really wanted to touch base on the, the Tree City USA. I have, been meeting with the mayor. Every week we meet to just kind of discuss our next steps. I did have an opportunity to sit with Nick, and we're really super excited about our, moving forward. Heather was not able to be on the call, unfortunately, tonight. But just a couple things, I just wanted to say that, when we formed our board, it's a group of volunteers. And we had 8 people who came and said they wanted to, work on helping us with the Arbor Day event. And we ended up with 4 who consistently met every week for 6 months to plan the event. And I was one of them. So really, really difficult to get volunteers. So I'm hoping that, as we work to get a Tree City USA status in the village, when we plan our Arbor Day event, which we will be getting, the grant should be coming out in the next week or 2. Once it does, I will definitely be working with all of the board, so that we can have it, approved. Because you will be accepting the money. It's $1,000. We're going to start planning now because we're hoping that our Arbor Day event for you can be in October, because they said that's the best time to have them in the second season. I just wanted to address, there were some complaints about the tree seedlings that we got. Those tree seedlings, number one, were free. It didn't cost us anything. The DEC gave us 300 free tree seedlings that we gave out at our event. Every single one of them was given out. In fact, they were calling because they were asking for more. It was the only tree seedling, white spruce, that was available at that season. It was the only one we could get, and because it was free, we took advantage of the opportunity. Yes, they do grow to be about 70 feet tall, but they're a very slow growing tree, so they're not going to grow. I mean, you're talking 75 years of them, and also they're a native species, so many people love the idea of indigenous tree species. So really, I think if anybody has any solutions or any, want to volunteer their time, please, we would love for you to come to us. We spend many hours that went into organizing that event. And, so definitely we appreciate everybody's questions and concerns, but I will make sure that my contact information, I can give it to the mayor to be shared. And anyone, please, happy to help you, on our calls, out there at the parks, because we're really looking forward to working with the village and the board and our board isn't political, but, I didn't think trees would be so controversial, but, definitely it's great for our communities. Once we get this one grant, we can apply for many, many additional grants and funding to plant more trees. So it's pouring again here, guys, but thank you so much for your time. And Nick, thank you for having me the other day and taking the time to speak to me. I appreciate that. All right, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next we have someone on the phone at 914-34400.
Hello?
Yes?
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear
Oh,
you.
okay. Yeah. Yes. Hi. My name is Renee Pfeiffer, and I'm a landlord, and I have a house on Harrison Avenue. And I was told I have to be on this call to discuss it. I got a garbage violation, and what happened is I got a letter. It was mailed out on June 4th, and it was supposed to be rectified on June 4th. And I live 2 hours away. I got the letter on the 7th, and I went up there on the 8th, and apparently they came on the 8th and they took the garbage bag. So now I have a $152 bill. So I called and I spoke to Lynn Orlando, and she told me to I had to discuss it on this call.
I think the first place to start would be to provide that letter to maybe Linda so that we can see what the letter says. And maybe you say it was dated June 4 and you had to get it corrected by June 4?
Yep.
So, yeah, we would have to see that letter first and then verify what's in there, and then we could take it from there probably.
Okay, so
Renee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had this issue before. I believe what they do is they post the door of the property at time of citation, and then they mail a letter. And I realize it poses a problem for a landlord who does not live here. So we've had this issue several times. We are trying to work on some sort of a solution. We have a refuse committee that's meeting and trying to, I'm not going to say fix the problem, but certainly help the problem. We just haven't made any determinations yet. There's a lot of ideas, and we've been kind of waiting for some landlords like yourself to weigh in. So hopefully we'll know more at some point, but as of right now, it's my understanding that that's totally acceptable the way it is, because they do post the door at time of incident.
So the door was probably posted before June 4, and then it was supposed to be fixed by June 4?
Yeah, I got the letter. It was dated 6/4, and it should be fixed by 6/4. It's a 3-family house. So do they put this notice on every single door? 3 doors. There's a...
And what was the date they put it on the door?
6/4.
So everything was 6/4 then. They posted it 6/4, the letter was 6/4, and you had to fix it by 6/4.
Correct.
Yeah, there's some...
I have the letter right in front of me, so if I can...
Yeah, maybe if you can provide that to the mayor, and she can provide it to the rest of us, and we could take a look at it.
Okay, so how do I go about giving this to, making a copy and giving this to the mayor?
We probably have a copy.
I'm going to actually be in, I got to go up tomorrow, so I can...
You can mail it in, too. I hate to make you come all the way in.
I have to go up there anyway. I have other rental properties, so I mow all the lawns.
What's the house number, if you don't mind?
105 Harrison Avenue in Endicott.
Yeah, we'll pull the record and look into it, Renee. And
I I mean, if I had gotten a phone call, like if I had known, my maintenance guy would have had, it would have been done. It would have been done within 2 hours. But if I don't get the letter, I don't know. You know what I mean? And of course, all the tenants say they didn't get a letter, but I know which tenant it was. But they've always been good with garbage and any sort of. I very rarely get a code thing, but so I try to keep it very clean, and
Mick, does that sound like there was some kind of mistake on the dates or something?
I don't know without looking at our records, but I mean, I do know it's very difficult for a landlord because they rely on their tenants to provide them with the notice of the door. And if the tenant fails to do that, it's kind of a surprise to the landlord. So it's something we're trying to work through, and I don't know that we're going to resolve it, but it would be nice to have a plan. Yeah. So we will look into that, Renee.
Okay. All right. So just tell me what I just need to do, or?
Well, I would still recommend.
It was one bag of garbage and $152. Just a lot of money for a bag of garbage that wasn't in the garbage can.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is our law. So,
Is there a date when that money is due?
It's due on invoice due date 6/30, 30th.
So there's time for Nick or Linda to take a look at it before, if there's a late fee or something like that, there's time to look at it before that would hit.
Yeah, I don't think the village is.
It's really a code issue.
Yeah, it's a code issue.
It's a code issue. We really aren't going to be able to do much, but we can talk to code. But
the issue as a whole is something we'll look at. We won't probably look at this individual case, but we will look at the overall issue because you're not alone.
So should I contact code? I mean, I just, I can understand if it was dated, like in Binghamton, if I get something with the garbage, I'm given like 5 days. I get it's all with it done in a timely, you know what I mean? When I get a letter marked 6/4 and to be fixed on 6/4, that's very unfair.
Yeah, I would certainly
I'm a good landlord.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just chime in here. So you're at a village board meeting right now. The village board makes the laws, but the code enforcement department enforces the laws. So you're involved in a code enforcement issue. So I'd recommend you contact the code enforcement department and talk to them about the letter they received.
Okay, because Lynn told me that's how I got all this information, that I had to, the only way to rectify this or whatever is with this call. So if code doesn't, if they tell me they can't help me, then where do I go from there?
I mean, that's really not up to us to say. I mean, you'd have to pay the bill if they're not, if they don't give you any leeway. But the code enforcement officer has discretion in that regard. It's really her ball, for whoever was the one that issued the letter.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, go to Christine Ellison.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I just want to commend everybody. I love hearing about all the new activities and the concerts. It's really wonderful to have everything opening back up. What a difference from last year. So thank God for that. I just have a little suggestion. So with regard to the tree board and the free trees that are given away. So I have a suggestion, and that would be that any type of free giveaway trees are of a species. There's many species that are indigenous to the area. And I believe that we have a degree in forestry on this committee. So my suggestion is that any type of trees, especially with the number of 300 being given out, that maybe the tree species be looked at a little bit more closely, and maybe a more compact grower, something maybe board approved. I just hate to look at creating a long-term problem with a short-term. Sounds really good, but we want to make our village better and better. We don't want to create problems as we go. So just a small suggestion, and this team's doing a great job. So thank you, Terry, you especially, for everything that you're doing. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Suggestions.
Thank you, Christine.
Okay, next we have Carol Layton.
Hi, Anthony. I would just like to say that I know that the free seedlings that were given out for this Arbor Day event were free, and that's the only seedling that was offered. They really didn't have a choice what kind of tree to take. They were only given this particular seedling, and there was no choice. So I guess you can't refuse free seedlings if they're going to give them to you for free, and there was no charge whatsoever. So that's all I know. Thank you.
Thank you, Carol. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? All right, then we will close this hearing of visitors, and we will go on to approval of the minutes for May 17th.
I'll make a motion to approve the 5/17/21 meeting minutes.
Second.
Well, instead of do roll call.
Roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Now we come to bids. All right, Eileen, would you like to read it and then make the motion?
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion for Phil Grayson to request a bid for some new equipment within the primary clarifiers down at the wastewater treatment plant.
I'll second that.
I just wanted to weigh in on that before. I'm looking at Phil's June 16th letter.
Mm-hmm.
Permanent clarifier.
Mm-hmm.
See, the way your motion was worded and the way the agenda is worded, it seems to indicate request to go out for bids. Is he requesting to go out for bids, or is he requesting to award a bid?
You're right, because it says that they received one proposal right here.
Right.
Maybe change the motion then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we should make a request for Phil to accept the bid for the new.
It's not even a request. So the village board has the authority to accept the bid if that's what you want to do.
Yes.
It's like Guardian Environmental Products.
Okay.
Put in a bid.
Okay. I'll make a motion for the village to accept the bid from, oh shoot, I lost it. Guardian Environmental Products for $22,500 for primary clarifiers at the wastewater treatment plant.
I'll second it.
Phew, that was a lot.
Do we accept sole bid?
Doesn't it have to be 3?
Well, we don't have to we have to put out bids.
Yeah.
If we don't get 3 bids back, if we only get 1, we have 2 options. We could rebid it, or we can
accept one.
what was.
Okay. All right.
We don't need 2 motions, one to sole bid,
Well,
one to accept it.
we didn't do a sole source bid on this. We bid it out. At least that's the way I'm reading it.
Yes, it does.
He submitted. He sent out bids for the primary clarifier, right? And the village.
But they received 1 proposal.
The village received 1 proposal back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not a situation of sole source bidding.
Right, not sole source, but just a single bid. We'll
It's just
accept
the
single
receipt of
bid.
the single bid, right? So it's only,
Can we do that in one motion?
yes.
Okay.
Is there a time frame that they were giving to receive the bid?
So we're good there?
Yes, yes, roll call, yes. On
Okay.
writing what he needs to write.
So we have a motion and then a second, so we'll vote. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Keith,
And the second one is, I'll make a motion to accept Phil's suggestion to place equipment for sale for auction that we no longer use.
And I believe all these we talked about during our budget.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion second, do a roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Burlingame?
Yes.
now we come to communications for filing. May I have a motion for those, please?
I'll make a motion to accept communications for filing A through B.
I'll second that.
Roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Did you say A through C, Nick?
A through
A
B.
through C.
A through B.
A,
A and B.
Oh, A through B. Okay, yes. I would vote yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Now we come to communications for filing.
Hmm.
I'm sorry, action, yes.
Make a motion.
Action.
I make a motion to accept the Dick's Sporting Event pass sign renewal.
I'll second that.
Motion second, do a roll call. Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
May I have a motion for that, please?
I make a motion to accept the 30-day waiver notice for celebrations on the avenue.
I'll second that.
Hey, Mike.
Roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
We'll just keep going. I'll make a motion to accept the 30-day waiver notice for Lovers Sushi.
I'll second that.
Roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Let's just keep going here. I'll make a motion to accept the waiver for the Outlet Pub and Eatery. I don't know where that, but,
I second that.
Do you know where it is?
Monroe.
1304 Monroe. Okay. And lastly, I'll accept the 30-day,
I need to do
oh, I'm
roll
sorry.
call. Roll call on that last one. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
And we're on.
Okay, I'm making motion to accept the 30-day waiver notice for the Ideal Bowling Center.
I'll second that.
Yes.
Roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes. Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
I'll make a motion regarding the to accept the notice from New York State regarding the American Rescue Plan Act.
We had this on for filing, but we
Mhm.
also do have to take action on it.
Mm-hmm.
No, option A or option B. Either decline funding or request funding. The rest of the plan.
Well, that's just declining. Who declines money?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So we'll have to go online and,
Okay,
and
I make a motion to request funding.
I'll second that.
Seems like a no-brainer.
roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Okay, and lastly, I make a motion to accept the Gusto application.
I'll second that.
Yeah.
Motion second, roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Bill. Nick, it's your turn.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
I'll second.
Okay.
Okay, motion second. Roll call. Trustee
Yes.
Connectney? Trustee
Yes.
Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Share and share alike, right?
We don't have any resolution, so now we come to unfinished business. Now, Bob, did you want to speak on this?
Yeah, so we've got a letter here from the chairwoman of the planning board, giving you an update on the Alpera project. So the planning board has both recommended approval of local law rezoning the property, the planned use development district, as well as recommendation of approval of the preliminary plan with conditions that are set forth in the letter there. So the next step, this under the planned use development or planned unit development process, the next step is now this project comes back to the village board, and the village board has to hold a public hearing and conduct a seeker review and vote on a local law whether or not to approve the rezoning and approve the preliminary plan. And if you do vote to approve the rezoning, the preliminary plan, then it goes back to the planning board for a final development plan.
Oh, okay, because I was going to ask if I could have a public hearing, so
Yes.
thank you, that solved that problem.
Seems like I did that once already.
That was on that was on the pilot. You were requesting it on the pilot. This is for the land use process. It requires a public hearing.
Okay.
Good. Then I don't have to give my whole speech. I had a whole speech, but now I don't have to because she's already going to have the public hearing. You saved me
So should we
time.
make a motion to call a public hearing?
Yeah, for a particular date and time, and I think we have to prepare notices and so forth. So I think our next meeting is mid-July, right?
July 19th at 6 o'clock.
Okay, so that would give us enough time to get all of that.
July 19th.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll make a motion to call for a public hearing on the Alter at Skyview Heights project, July 19th at 6 p.m.
Very good.
I'll second it.
Okay. Motion second, roll call. Trustee Connectney?
Yep.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Excellent. Now, our new business, and I believe this is something, well, sidewalk repairs is yours, isn't it, Anthony?
Yeah, I think most of these on here for the business. Sidewalk repairs, I wanted to bring it up. Once in a while, we get a request from either homeowner or a business owner that would like to share in the cost of replacing sidewalks in front of their business. So just wanted to know how we want to handle that going forward. So obviously it would save us money. We're responsible for the sidewalks. And if someone was interested in splitting it, how would we incorporate that with our list of sidewalks to replace? And, is it legal? Can we do that? So I just wanted to kind of have an open discussion about that, how we want to, tackle those issues as those requests.
We get a lot of them?
We've had a couple. I know in the last few years, I'd say maybe, 2 to 3. So not a lot, but enough. But they do come in that we should have a way to address it instead of a one-on-one, basis that we have a policy or a procedure in place that go to it. When to do it.
Is it usually one or two, I don't know what you call them, the panels, 4x4 panels or 5x5, or is it the whole sidewalk usually?
Yeah, so the latest request we have was in front of a business. I believe it's 6 or 8 5x5 blocks that they would want to replace. So, and I know my concern or an issue I have too is that, we get our bid. So if they want a private contract to do it, we would have to at least match what we put for if we would do it.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't want to pay half of, the square footage. If they charge more, we wouldn't want to pay half of that. We'd want to pay half of what we would.
How many do you think are on the list not that want to share the cost, but just on the list for us to repair or replace now?
With our current budget, I mean, we're years worth of work that are on the list. Like we're multiple years worth of work. Taking the amount that we budget every year for that. And that includes, so like when we do a road, as we mentioned earlier, like West Franklin Street, we'll go in and do the corners that are required because that's state funding we get for something like that. And then if there's more work to do, we'll see if it's something, our public works employees can perform. Do they have the time? And can they do it? So it's really each project is different. It's really not a uniform process we have. It's depending on, how much work needs to be done, the type of work, and what our funding is.
And do you have staff to do it?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you tell us where it is?
This one.
Well, there's a waiting list.
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
that doesn't get bumped.
I think it's great that the business owner or the homeowner takes such pride in their location that they want the sidewalks replaced, but at the same time,
You have people who've been waiting, and you can bump them. It's a hard decision.
Well, that even brings up another question. What if another request were, now that we've talked about this on the meeting, what if a request comes in, they would pay for the entire cost? Then what? Then where are we on that one too?
Well, what does that have to do with the board if they want to do it by themselves?
Well,
it's their property.
They'd have to get approval from the village.
That way, they'd have a contractor other than the village. What difference does that make?
Well, I don't think the village has employees to do that.
No, I mean, if that building owner wants to, could he use an independent contractor other than the village to do the job? So we wouldn't be bumping anybody out of the way, right?
I think they would have to get some kind of approval from the street department or somebody so that we know that they're doing it the proper way.
Is it even legal?
Yeah, okay, so I'm just looking through our code right now. So there are really three different ways that sidewalk repairs. Either the village can do it, can put the responsibility of doing it on itself, on the village. The village can put the responsibility on the property owner, or the village and the property owner can share the cost. But we can't be determining this on a case-by-case basis or kind of making up as we go. It really ought to be in our laws which we choose. And I believe the way we have it set up in our laws right now is that the village pays for the repair of the sidewalks. I was just looking for that in here, but I'd have to find that to verify it. I'm pretty sure that's how we have it.
So for clarification, you're saying if we do it for one, we do it for all. So is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Now, it's a different story if the property owner wants to make a gift to the village, unsolicited, wants to make a gift to the village to pay for the cost of repairing the sidewalk in front of the house. We might be able to work something out there, but if the village is going to be the one doing the work, we need to pay prevailing wage and we need to have the workers' comp in place and bid it out and follow all of our normal procurement process. We can't just say, yes, it's going to be a village project, but a private company or a private individual can come in and just do it, without all of those procedures in place. It's on Adams.
And Anthony, right at this moment, you just have the one request, I guess, right?
Yeah, there's one, I guess you could say pending right now, that I get, back to them after we've discussed it.
And even though we don't have a rule or a law, we pretty much, the consensus is they would not get bumped up on the list for sharing the cost. So we do have time to decide if we want to do something.
Okay.
So if we decided to accept a gift and we decided to do their sidewalk first, that I mean,
That just sounds wrong.
it does sound a little wrong.
That came out wrong.
They can get us into a difficult position, especially if we're not doing it.
Putting it that way.
That's been
Thanks.
Well, that's kind of my question, you know? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we've talked about years ago, and I don't know how this is playing out now, but years ago, I know it was discussed that we put a program together and say, you know, here's our list, and, you know, if you want something done sooner, if you want to split the cost, then, but it would be open to everyone, you know, not just as requests come in. I don't know if that's, you know, you can do that legally or not. I mean, it wasn't discussed by the board years ago, but nothing was ever done with it, so it was talked about.
I think we could formulate something along those lines.
Yeah.
We'd have to.
I like that better because at least it's,
Of course, this also would tie into our tree issue going on, because mostly when you want to fix your sidewalk, it's because the tree's pushing it up. So then, can you do it without cutting the tree? Do you cut into the roots? You know, it brings up other problems too, it seems like.
Well, that's why it should be done by the village, either by the village personnel or by a village contractor that we have authority over.
my concern for offering it to homeowners would be the lower income people might not get a fair shake versus someone who has more money. They might say, well, I want my sidewalks done. And I think that could be an issue.
I think that's a valid point.
For businesses, I don't have a problem with businesses, but I think for homeowners, I would probably have a little issue with that.
So aren't we saying that no one would get bumped up on the list no matter what they were offering? Or if they offered to pay the whole thing, would they get bumped up then?
I don't think that's even fair.
I don't think that's very good either.
Smell of like pay to play kind of
Yes.
stuff.
Yeah. So if no one's going to get bumped up, regardless of the percent they pay,
No, and the list is miles long.
yeah, so it doesn't really matter, does it? If they're not going to get bumped up, by the time they become number one on the list, they can pay whatever share they want to.
Yeah, then they wouldn't.
And they certainly wouldn't, because now we're going to do it for free.
Yeah, right. So that eliminates the whole issue, really.
I think it's a moot point.
I agree.
So, I wouldn't care, but I don't know how that will work.
Yeah, again, I'll want to dig into our code on that.
Yeah.
We can set up a process where we put the obligation on the property owner, but that's usually done either all or none, not just.
Well, if any property owner wants to redo their sidewalk, it seems like we should talk about it. Not necessarily blankly say it, but maybe that's a discussion we'll have to give some consideration to. If it's even legal.
I can go back and dig into this a little and send an email.
Yeah, I'd like to know more.
Yes, I would be glad to do that.
I just, you know.
Hey, Bob, dig.
Dig, Bob.
But I guess my question is there any circumstance that on any of this where they would be bumped up on this 3, 4, 5 year long list?
I would think if there's a liability claim and someone got really, really injured on a trip or a fall, then that would get the utmost attention so that it doesn't repeat.
But that would be after the fact, though, right?
Yeah, right. We are already sued. Right.
Yeah.
And that's all liability.
Well, once you have a notice that there's an issue, you should take care of it after.
But we've done that before, and they're so far behind that they never get caught up with the trip hazards and the sidewalks.
I think those really are two different things.
Yeah.
We have these prior written notice laws where somebody gives you notice of defect, fix it, don't, there could be liability. To me, that's a whole separate list.
Sure, yeah.
Right, and that ought to be given priority. The other list is just kind of the general upgrades of the village sidewalks throughout the entire village. So we have kind of a plan, a program that we follow.
And do we correlate that with road repairs? Is that what we like to do?
Yeah.
That's
I mean, it's
street.
not exact.
Repaving.
Yeah, it's not exact. Like they don't.
That's the street
always
department
mix up,
does,
but
would do
yeah.
that.
Like if we're going in, like
Mhm.
we're looking to do a road, we say,
Exchange Ave.
yeah, hey, we've had claims on this
Yes.
street, so let's make sure
Yeah.
when we do this road, let's take care of these problems. You know.
It's beautiful, by the way, Exchange Ave.
Yeah, it's nice. Yeah, they're doing good.
Good. Okay.
Yeah, because on the liability end, because in my business, if somebody slips and falls, they say, first question, did you give notice to the village? And if they say yes and nothing happened, the attorneys are going to make some nice dollars on it. So, if that's a separate issue, say if it's an immediate emergency repair, you got to do it, or you're hanging yourself up there.
Separate circumstances.
So should we table that for another date?
We have to, because Bob's going to dig.
Yeah.
Okay. Solar project discussion.
Bob, you had something on that, I think.
Oh, well, I don't know, I want to lead the discussion.
Come on, Bob.
Well, I mean, we had a conference call, between Anthony and the mayor and Nick and, the fire marshal. And there's a proposal, that's been discussed for a solar project, Kmart site. And like the mayor said, one of the issues is the tax revenue. There's gonna be a request for a pilot. We don't know exactly how much, but the assessment of this property would not be a high dollar figure. I think they estimated around $20,000 assessment, and they want to pilot off of that assessment.
Is this just for the grounds or for the building?
For
For the grounds. Okay.
building instead.
I thought they wanted to demolish the building.
They would demo
Oh,
the
did they
building.
say
This part of the project, they would demo the building. Now, we do have a grant, which is separate from all this, to demo the building. That money is still available. Put it down.
And there's also the land use issue. So this code enforcement officer has made a determination that this is not an allowed use on the site. So it doesn't comply with zoning, so they would need a use variance from the zoning board of appeals to authorize it, or the report to go in and change, look at zoning and see if also change the zoning on the site. So that's really all I had to say, just as an update.
I didn't hear what is the property that's in question?
Kmart Plaza.
Oh, the Kmart.
Yeah. So the way I understood it, they would like to tear down the Kmart building and put solar panels over the parking lot. From my understanding, they didn't want to make any site improvement in terms of repavement or anything, planting grass. They actually wanted the blacktop to reflect the sun back to the solar panels. They would put they'd put a fence around it. I don't know.
How big of a parcel is that?
It's a big lot. I think it's 20-some acres, right? It's 2 lots. It's actually
20 acres, really? Has anybody driven by the main middle school on 26 down by Frank's?
Yes, I have.
They kind of did a nice job with that.
I thought they were ugly.
Well, they're uniform.
Yeah,
I mean,
they're-
it's neat. And it's
To many
clean.
people, I think they would be ugly, and I think if you're gonna
Yeah.
put them on we're far in advance of this ever happening, but to put them on the Kmart place with no new blacktop and no chain link fence all the way around, it's almost like making it worse.
Yeah.
I don't know if you'd be able to see it. I almost feel like they would block it so you couldn't see the panels. Now, the pros are they're not going to dig into the soil. So there are certainly some pros to this. They will feed the power into NYSEG, and it will help lower-income households. But the downside is it's obviously in the heart of the village, and I know a lot of us, myself included, have high hopes for that property, and I don't know. And these solar panels are looking to sign a long-term lease, which could go, I believe, 30 years if extended. So it's a big decision.
So obviously this is a money-making project for somebody, the Kmart owner and probably the solar people. But what is the advantage of Endicott to do that other than replace one ugly-looking thing with maybe another ugly-looking thing?
Not much.
Well, you also have to take in consideration how long has Kmart been vacant and no bidders.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's something.
Well, they're not going to get any bidders either.
Yeah, I mean,
I
that's
mean,
one thing to consider too with any type of project is, on the meeting we had, talking to the property owner, I mean, since the flood of 2011, he's been trying for tenants. So we talked to the large department store chains, like Targets, Walmart's, that type of thing. Many others that just, that market's really not there like it used to be. So,
even when the sport mode,
sit like that it could sit like that forever without someone interested in it. So it's really something to consider. Either way, just to have an option there. And we tried, we talked about other companies that have been interested and kind of didn't pan out at that point. But I've heard the roof, the roof might have some issues, and just to fix that it'd be cost more than tearing the whole building down. So.
We do have one more option that is a little bit extreme. We are allowed to ask for a Class 2 DEC because our water runs through that property. If we did that, this is very extreme. If we did that, then the owner would have to clean the dump, and the property would then finally be worth something. But again, that's something we'd really have to think about.
That's a tough ball. Ouch.
Well, it's a huge cost. They got to go down 30 feet and clear it all out, including probably Genevieve ball field, or maybe just the Kmart. I don't know, but it's a huge cost. I don't know if anybody could recoup their money.
So perhaps putting solar panels on that might not be such a bad idea.
Well, and I think that's what we have to think about, the pros and the cons. It's been vacant for how many years? Now, like I said, myself included, I have high hopes for that property. I think it's in the heart of the village, and I would love to see something nice come out of it. But at the same time, we do have to be realistic, and maybe this is our best bet.
Well, wouldn't it be nice to...
I agree. I agree not to rush into it.
Wouldn't it be nice to work out a deal and take the fence down and turn it into a big, huge lot like National Pipe did over there for their lot? Just put it in, make it into a park with trees.
And the solar panel?
The thing is, we couldn't put trees in it because we can't
dig in.
Do you know how much those trees were like $100,000 a pop?
Oh no, we wouldn't do those. But I mean, you could start with smaller trees.
No, we wouldn't do.
We get a bunch of trees from Terry.
Yeah, little seedling, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to table this and got some good discussion about it.
I think community input would be helpful for that.
It'd be interesting to see. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, what about the Sarasota Field improvements, Anthony?
I did send an email regarding this one. We've done some of the repairs that we talked about.
They look nice.
I said a couple of years now. So the dugouts are up.
Dugouts are up. They look nice.
Looks good.
They look great. So we repaired the lights. There were some lights that were out that I know a lot of the athletes were in kind of prime locations. So in the outfield they were having trouble catching the ball, come off the bat, fly balls come off the bat. So anyways, we took care of that issue. We had to rent a lift and repair, I think, 3 of the bulbs. So that's done. The last 2 things we had listed were field improvements and the fencing. So trying to coordinate with a fencing company. We did get a couple quotes, working with the low, kind of the low quote on that right now.
Is the fence in bad shape?
No, so with the new, so basically what they did is they had the dugouts and the bleachers, and then home plate was over here. We flipped them. That's how it used to be years ago. So we flipped them back we gotta like cut an opening in the fence and wrap the dugouts in the fencing.
Yeah, I did see
right
that.
now they're
Right.
wide
Yeah.
open.
Right.
And then put gates on each side.
Right. Okay.
Lock it.
Okay.
So,
Got it.
so that's the fencing work we need, done. I believe the quote on that was submitted about a month ago. So working with them to try to get that completed. And then the last thing was the field improvements. So, we have 2 quotes for that. Like I said, the quotes we had before, last year, we're a little bit less, obviously. So the price has gone up a little bit. We're still, under our threshold for bidding and stuff. So just wanted to get a consensus if we wanted to move forward with that and get that ordered and get the field improvements done.
Why do we think the cost went up?
So the 2 bids that came in, it was a little bit more materials. The material went up, I think, $3 a cubic yard. So it was a little, and there was more of that material we needed. And then the labor was up a little bit, and really that was it. And we want to do like the mound, the home plate, and then we also added the bullpen area. So it's like a little mound in a little dirt area.
And if we wait, there's nothing to say that it'll go back down again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, for that, and a lot of it's so it's that type, and then it's edging. It's kind of cleaning up in the field. And really, it came about is because we've done Davis Field, the softball field, did all that, the walls, the backstop, the fencing there, and then we did a lot of fencing over at Logan a few years ago too. So Sertoma was kind of the last field to invest in at this point.
Well, I'm okay with moving forward. Seeing all the kids in the parks and the ball fields. I mean,
It's awesome.
now more than ever,
It's awesome.
it's almost, it's worth the investment.
There's a lot of activity in there. Yeah, I'm for it too. Yeah.
As part of that package, is there any talk of leveling the outfields? That outfield looks like,
Yeah, there's right field.
a guy starts running back to the fences, sometimes running uphill.
Yeah.
Being a ball player too, it'd be nice to have a nice level.
Maybe in the fall they could do that.
Yeah. So they haven't discussed that in
Really?
the senior league.
You can even see it, it's noticeable that they.
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah.
So the request hasn't been put in by anyone.
Maybe
But,
they'll- Sorry.
but yeah, that's always.
I make a motion, move on to the next,
And I
hearing
played
visitors.
it like that.
Sorry.
Yeah, because that would have to be bulldozed to make it level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yikes. Okay. Shh. Okay.
Well,
All right.
sorry.
So yeah, so is everyone okay with that?
Yeah. Yeah, you can't
And we'll
stop
try to line
now.
up the fencing as soon as we can.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
Should be good. Good for a while.
Oh.
Okay. Last one is we have 2 individuals who run the museum side of the visitor center, and they work. It's Thursday. They're open Thursday, Friday, Saturday from noon to 4 p.m. And this has been. So we used to have. This is years ago. We used to have a full-time person over there. That person left. We kind of backfilled it with the 2 part-time employees just for those 3 days a week. So when it was initially done, they were basically 1099 employees, so they're not actually not employees, but 1099 contract workers. So what they've requested is to go on to make the same amount, $100 a week. Pay them same amount, just go on village payroll. So we pay them their 100 and their the only thing the added cost to us would be the Social Security cost. So they're not eligible for benefits or anything like that. And then if they, I kind of doubt they'd want to be in the retirement system. That's based on what we do. So they're just asking to go from a 1099 employee to a village.
That sounds reasonable.
I don't have a problem with that.
They're going to have an hourly pay rate? And if so, how does that match up with their compensation?
Yeah, so we just would back into the rate. So, 12 hours a week. For that amount. Yeah, maybe, unless we want to adjust it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea, Anthony. They do a good job over there.
I mean, you can adjust the wage if you want.
Yeah, so I see what you're saying.
Yeah, what does that come to an hour?
Got $8.33 an hour.
Yeah.
So,
So, I mean, we're obligated to pay federal minimum wage, not state minimum wage, so covered at this point.
So they're not asking for a pay increase, it's just to switch over to employee?
Right.
Yeah, that's been an issue for as long as I've been a trustee.
Yeah, they've asked for
Okay.
I'm not even asking for a raise, so I think it sounds fine. Yeah,
Sleeping dogs lie.
that's true. Very good. I agree.
I don't have a problem with the visitor center employee request.
If they wanted to, but I don't think they would. I don't think they would participate in that environment.
They'd be at number, what, 6 anyway?
If they join now, I don't know if they have a history of being in.
I don't think so. No.
Do you want us to vote on this, Anthony?
No, I don't think you have to. Yeah. Well, would you want to? Yeah. Maybe put them as a employee.
If you're gonna hire them as employees at a particular, sure.
Switch them back. Okay.
Have that vote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure, we could do that.
Monica is going to be looking for somebody to help her. She's getting really, really booked. You know, someone to come in and help her late evenings to shut down the events. So that will probably be on the agenda here shortly because she does. It's just her by herself. It's ridiculous.
what is the federal minimum wage?
Okay, well, that's good.
So when
Ahead of it.
we vote for this or accept it, just for like whatever the $100 is,
Mm-hmm.
are we looking at down the line being forced to pay retirement and just keep adding on these other expenses on top of a simple $100 thing, or?
Yeah. Yeah, it's part-time though,
Yeah,
too.
you're talking retirement, if they want. Yeah. It's sounds kind of gray to me, but,
My understanding is if somebody wants to join the retirement system, you have to allow them.
Yeah, we do.
Contributions for that.
Is it based on wage or hours, annual wages, so it's very minimal.
It would.
And then is there
oh,
a
maybe there's substitute. It's gotta be 21.
I think Colleen's my age.
13% or half of 13%?
Yeah, half of the.
I'm just looking
like 7.
10 years down the road.
Yeah.
That would be the additional cost to us.
Right.
At this point, but it's be that 7.
That's minimal.
It's yeah. Handle it in there.
Well, thank God the visitor center museum is open.
And they actually
I
just
agree.
opened back up
Yep.
beginning of
Yep.
June.
Yeah, I'm just looking to pinch the penny, so I just.
I don't think you can pinch them there.
Yeah.
They're not asking for much.
It always be hard. So,
Okay.
So do you want it by name? I'm going to do the motion by name. It would be Jackie Tedesco and Colleen Becker.
Is there a position?
what department are they? What would that be considered?
It's really our visitor center. Like
It's
in
the visitor center budget.
Yeah, visitor center.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be, they don't, they're contractors now.
The yearly, we put them in, is there a civil service title that we have lined up for this?
No, we use labor before. Yeah. General, just
Yeah, right now with that pay that they get, they have to go back and pay both, whether it's FICA or Social Security, they got to pay both sides of it right now. This way, they only pay half and we pay half.
Yeah, but it's their request. Right.
No, their request is that the village will then pay half, which we don't do that now. As an independent contractor, they have to pay it all.
So, Jackie Tedesco, and what was the other name?
Colleen Becker.
Oh, yeah, okay. So, just thinking about a motion here.
Yes, how would you like to word that?
Would they have to be done individually?
Yeah. So I think you're hiring them as a laborer to work at the visitor center at a rate of pay of $8.
It's 33, 3333. Yeah.
$8.33 an hour. And
Yes.
how many hours?
You said 12 hours a week, Anthony?
And 12 hours per week.
$100 divided by 12 hours a week, so that's 833. So I'll make a motion to we're adding a position. Adding the position of, or how should we do that?
Yeah, so
Are we hiring? I mean, how does that work?
technically we're creating two positions.
Yeah.
We're creating two laborer positions.
We have to do it individually.
Yeah, right,
We'll create two laborers, right?
right.
So should we do two separate motions? Oh,
Well, it's really three motions. So one motion to create two laborer positions.
okay.
And then the two others to hire.
Okay, I'll make a motion to create two laborer positions at the visitor center, 12 hours per week at a pay rate of $8.33 per hour.
I'll second that.
Okay, the roll call. Trustee
Yes.
Kennedy? Trustee
Yes.
Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes. And I'll make a motion to hire Jackie Tedesco to fill one of those positions at the visitor center.
I'll second that.
Connecting?
Yep.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes. And I'll make another motion to hire Colleen Becker as a laborer at the visitor center.
I'll second that.
Second, roll call. Trustee Connecting?
Yes.
Trustee Dorner?
Yes.
Trustee Warner?
Yes.
Trustee Burlingame?
Yes.
Very good. Now we come to our second hearing of visitors. Is there anybody in the room that would like to speak? Very good, George. Thank you.
Because we're having the golf course come, I don't know what can be done so quickly, but Marchusco property.
I've called the DEC on them. I've also called the fire marshal on them. I kind of at a loss of what more to do. They
Code enforcement, because of the ugliness of the property.
and because
Is
they're
there a
supposed to
code
be landscaping.
supervision or leveling, remove the, there's a lot of attractive hazards in there, logs, roots, and poisons, because they're poisoning all the weeds and whatnot.
That's why the DEC is now involved. They were only called in 2 days ago. But the DEC was called because I had gotten calls from the school about worrying, a while ago I got it, the last time they killed them. A couple, residents have said that they're worried about those chemicals.
Considering that they're within the
Where he
village, that would
lost his
be
bid.
within the village's
Dunkin' Donuts?
responsibility to speak to code
Really?
enforcement to send a letter.
Left
Give
on.
us a suggestion for why are you killing grass that's trying to grow there? And why are there tree trunks and branches sticking out of the ground?
Tree trunks and branches, I didn't
That's
realize that,
liability
that's
for,
true.
that's liability for the village. And it's unsightly, especially with an event that's coming for
Right.
the Godoy golf course, and it's an eyesore.
I noticed it the other day. It really looks ratty.
So, and it's unlevel, and the property that's next to it, I don't know what's in that white house. What is that, a business or is that a residence? The big large white house.
I think that is a home for handicapped people, handicapped
The people that
citizens.
get out with goes on their back.
Yeah, it's a charitable.
Just
a charitable
thing.
I don't know the name, but yeah.
It has to look like that. And I think that it should be leveled and grass planted there until such time. And was there an agreement to plant trees or something?
There was an agreement to landscape around that sign, and I don't know why it hasn't been done.
That's just the sign.
But at least
There
there
should
would
be an
something.
agreement because it's been
Right.
like that for how long?
2 years now?
Yeah, they destroyed like a little forest that was there, too.
Yeah.
For a building that was planned, and then it wasn't.
It never happened.
The forest that was there.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if they could be approached too.
You know, I'll have to ask code.
Proactively speaking.
The thing is, I could ask code because maybe there's something we as a board can do to force that
You
issue.
wouldn't allow anybody residential property to live like that.
No, you're right, we would not.
So that's considered property, that zone.
I'm not sure how cooperative Justin's gonna be though. I
But
don't
if
know.
he gets fined, perhaps we could. I don't know. I think we just,
Fine, unless there's a law.
we're gonna find out what our legalities are and then.
I haven't spoken to him in a long time.
We have enough, like, parking lots of the tar, like, it's a parking lot farm.
Hey, Paradise and put up a parking lot.
Yes, that's what I think of. Every time I look at that, I think of that song.
Approach a parking garage, prefab parking garage application.
Wow, cool.
That they would buy the property from them and put in a parking garage there.
A couple of people have tried to buy the property from him, but he wants an awful lot of money for it from what people have said, but I've never.
If then that's the case, he has to pay some money to be quiet, because that's an eyesore for our.
I was going to ask Code if there's ever a legal way we can start charging people for having empty vacant properties that they are not taking care of like that. So you're absolutely right. Yeah, yes, you're right. That's terrible too. I'll put that down also.
That should not be, it's on a main drive.
Yes, I've got that down too, Donna. Thank you. I'll talk to them about both of those.
Washington Avenue and parking issues,
Mhm. Yes, that's true.
well lit, beautified, landscape, they're beautiful.
Yes, very true. Very true. Good point.
I'll call.
I just noticed at 404 today, and this is different parts of the family, but they are doing something there to, I don't know what, but it looks like they're improving something with the boarded up windows where 404 used to be.
Mm. Boy, you're going back. 404, oh my lord.
That's what I call it too. That's all I've ever known.
I don't know what else you call it.
Yeah.
Haydinger Ford used to be there.
I think it used to be a Paduke, didn't it? I don't know. Whatever. Moot point. Okay.
Anyway.
Moving on.
All right, anyone else on Zoom would like to speak at the second hearing of visitors? Raise your hand and we'll call on you.
All right, since there's nobody else who would like to speak, we will close the second hearing of visitors. Final comments. Eileen, if you've got any comments.
I am good.
How about you, Pat?
Yeah, I got one comment about kind of an oldie about these grand openings deal. I'd still like to be advised if and when there are any openings whatsoever. All the trustees are told about them. I know you've said before that I own a business and maybe I can't come, but I'd like to at least have that option to make that decision whether I can make it or not.
Initiate any, you will be. I can't invite people to a party because I'm invited to one.
Mm-hmm.
But if I initiate any, then I can invite you.
Pat, I have a suggestion. Any of these in the future, even some of the ones that, the most recent ones that she's done this on, we should maybe send a letter to them from whoever wants to sign it and say, we're sorry we couldn't make it. We were not informed. The board was not informed by the mayor of these grand openings.
Radio station.
You don't have to invite us. You don't have to invite us, Linda, but you do need to inform us.
It was on the radio station. Anybody could have listened to it and gone.
Linda, when you get notified, you don't need to invite us. You should inform us though. Forget the radio station.
But if the business owner sends an email to the mayor and doesn't specifically ask for it to go out to the trustees,
we should be informed.
I don't know. The one that I got from Imperium, I was personally invited to.
Right, that's the thing.
We should be informed, Eileen.
There's no meeting.
And by the way, Eileen is invited to all of these by you, Linda, and informed of all of them, but we don't get invited.
No, wrong.
I have never invited.
Wrong, Ted. Nice try.
Well, sorry, I'm using the wrong word. Invite. You've been informed of all these.
Negative. Nothing. Didn't know anything about it. Negative.
Okay, well, we want to
story.
be informed. We want to be informed. If you don't want to be, that's fine, but we want to be informed to know what's going on in the village, and we deserve it.
Well, I'm going to have a coffee on Friday.
That's right.
25th, and I want everybody there.
That's yours. That's not anything to do with the business.
But that's the only one I can invite people to is mine, and I'm willing to invite you. And I'll
Linda,
even buy your coffee if you go.
Linda, let me say it for the fourth time. The word is not invite. You need to inform us of these things.
I do inform you. My mayor's announcement.
You did not inform us of any of these. 15 places with grand openings, ribbon cuttings. We were not informed of any of them.
I didn't have 15, so you've been going to more than I have.
And you made a sarcastic comment a minute ago. I inform you after the meeting.
Yes,
So that's kind of a little bush league, in my opinion. But
But at any rate, do you have any other comments?
no, I'm good.
How about you, Nick?
Well, I just want to remind everyone, Thursday nights at the Northside Park, 7 p.m. Bring a lawn chair blanket. You'll enjoy yourself.
And Friday at the Visitor Center, 5 to 7.
There you go.
There you go.
Lots of music.
That's all I
Endicott.
That's good. Ted, do you have any final comments?
No, I just made mine.
Well, I would like a motion to adjourn.
I will make a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Very good.
All in favor?
Bye.
Aye.
In favor.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, that concludes. Whoops, a little hot. That concludes another exciting Endicott Village Board meeting, and a lot of things came up there. A lot of difficulties between the two different factions of the village board, the Republican mayor, and actually, some of her fellow Republicans are complaining that they're not being informed of these grand openings. There was great progress on the local trees issue. Great job, Terry Farrell and Heather Staley on that. I'm interested in this property that they said that was redeveloped, and it's the best. What did Ted say? It's the best looking property redevelopment that he's seen in 20 years. I didn't catch the address, but I'm going to go back and listen to the tape. I apologize for streaming this to the wrong channel. I didn't realize it until the last minute, and the meeting was already underway, so I couldn't really cancel it and restart it on the Bill Houston podcast channel. But I'm going to try to upload this to the Bill Houston podcast channel, just because that's where I know where people are going to be looking for it. I'll add this to the Village of Endicott playlist that I have on the Bill Houston podcast. And that's about it. If anybody wants to email me, there's my email address right at the top of the screen, williamhouston@gmail.com. And that's about it. Okay. We will talk to you later. Buttons up if you can to simply appreciated. Be sure to hit the like button, friends. Thumbs up this video and share it out, please. And don't forget to subscribe to the Bill Houston podcast on YouTube. Click on the bell and select all notifications. And please donate if you can to support my work. Donations in any amount are greatly appreciated.